measure with the steps that they walk. I'm the link between bracelets of the good and the bad. I'm the girl from the basics, the alive from the dead.
Having traveled the world, I always wondered why my heart misses that unclear spiritual entity known as the Russian soul. What is it that makes us Russians so different from the world? And then a spirit came upon me. But of course, that magic spirit that makes the fearful people dance, the shy sociable, and the closed-down emotional, vodka, also known as garzalka in Poland and garilka in the Ukraine, has been the best friend and the worst enemy of many people in my country. Vodka carries its name from the Russian word voda, water. It was first used for medical purposes as an anesthetic, disinfectant, and fever reducer, but today it is the most famous drink associated with Russia. Vodka is drunk neat, it is clear, it is distilled, basically water and ethanol, sometimes flavored, mostly not. It is very alcoholic. In most countries, there is a standard concentration of 40% ABV, which makes it a poison or a medicine depending on the quantity, quality, and how often you consume it. No one is left indifferent to the effects of vodka, but we are not the only producers and consumers. Belarus, Iceland, Norway, Finland, Ukraine, and other countries are big fans of the product. So, who is responsible for this source of tears and laughter? Of course, let's blame it all on the Russians. However, rumor has it that it was a Polish invention of the 8th century. Others say that in 1386, the ambassadors of Genoa presented a grape-based distilled liquor, which they called aqua vitae, to the Grand Duke Dmitry Donskoy. This soon became an inspiration for vodka. So isn't everybody involved in this black magic potion? Many resources claim that a Russian monk from the Chudov monastery made the first Russian vodka in 1430. Nevertheless, this constant debate over vodka will probably never be resolved. If there is an adjective that describes vodka, I would say popular. One of the reasons it became so famous here in Mother Russia is that it can remain liquid even in cold Siberia, and everything freezes there. Vodka is a historical drink. By the end of the 16th century, vodka was the thing, and everything got out of hand, leaving people in debt or too drunk to cultivate their land. Therefore, the state decided to take things under control, which led to undercover production as well as making vodka at home, a tradition which still takes place, especially in villages. Unfortunately, vodka was too abused in my country, causing annual deaths and health problems to the nation. The Orthodox Church had given vodka the name, the drink of the devil. Our great Tsar, Alexander III, decided to save the people and improve the quality of vodka with the help of the Russian chemist Dmitry Ivanovich Mendeleev, who created the formula of vodka used today based on the volume of alcohol and water, not on the weight of the components. 40% ethanol, 60% water. FYI, this famous scientist actually created the periodic law. Vodka was often politically self-serving to the government of almost all historical times because of its taxes. From propaganda to prohibition, government regulations regarding this green snake were variable. At the beginning of the First World War, Emperor Nicholas II had passed an ordinance of alcohol prohibition on the territory of Russia. The results of this prohibition were exceptional. Extreme decrease of psychiatric patients in hospitals, fewer arrests related to alcohol consumption, 50% less suicide based on alcohol consumption, less criminal activity and poverty, huge increase in money deposits into savings banks, better health of the population, and increased productivity. After the law of alcohol prohibition was abolished, the social problem of alcoholism gradually started coming back. The consequences of alcohol abuse were numerous. Joseph Stalin took it further, establishing a state monopoly on vodka in 1930 in order to finance the rearmament of the army. Money was also needed for the massive industrialization of the country. Stalin, of course, was not the only political leader who looked up to vodka for material help in the domestic politics. There were some famous anti-alcohol campaigns in Russia in 1958, 1972, and 1985. All of them were efficient. Despite different efforts, by the beginning of the 1980s, alcoholism was the first social problem in Russia. The unsettling, dangerous 90s made our population the leading alcohol consumer. Of course, our former president, Boris Yeltsin, had become extremely popular by exhibiting the effects of this alcoholic substance. As of today, the latest statistics clearly show that the market leader in Russia is not vodka, it is beer, which is sold 9 times more often than liquors and vodka. We are number 16 among drinkers of the world, and those numbers are going down because of the work of Minzdrav, our healthcare ministry. During the last 5-7 years, the consumption of alcohol in the country decreased by 80%, which is effective. The means were mainly regulations of alcohol sales hours and sales places, government excise policy, and the control of the amount of production. Many night shops closed down, but the demand for wine in the supermarkets got higher. The federal law does not allow us to buy alcohol after 11 p.m. We are drinking less and driving more. But nothing can stop a vodka craving Russian, especially considering that the prices on vodka vary immensely from 200 rubles to $1.3 million. The most famous local producers are Stolichne, Russian Standard, Beluga, Jewel of Russia. Now let us look at the benefits. The fuel of every party, great for cooking, and only 90 calories in a shot. Can of beer, 150 calories on average. But it never ends with one shot, does it? The vodka of today is produced from various starch or sugar-rich plant matter. The most popular ones are grains such as rye and wheat, potatoes, grapes, soybeans, fruits, and the list only gets longer with the modern developments. So basically, vodka can be made out of almost anything. Vodka is also a good helper for housewives for getting rid of mold on chrome, smears on glass, or sticky stuff. It can also make the housekeeping way more fun. Because it is so neutral, it is often used for famous cocktails: Cosmopolitan, Bloody Mary, Moscow Mule, White Russian, Martini, and various others. What would James Bond or Carrie Bradshaw do without vodka?
A medium dry martini, lemon peel, shaken, not stirred.
Vodka?
Of course.
Vodka may not be the answer, but it's worth a shot. Vodka challenge. Michael, you know that we have a lot of vodka in Russia.
So I've heard.
So there is the cheap vodka, the average price, and the premium expensive vodka, and the impossibly expensive vodka. We're not touching that yet. Today. So your challenge for today is to drink these shots and guess which vodka is cheap, which vodka is average price, and which vodka is the most expensive. We're gonna see how Russian you really are. You don't have to drink it all, unless you want to.
Well, never let it be said that I'm not up for a challenge.
You have more. Mors is a traditional chemical berry juice.
Traditional chemical berry juice?
Sorry, it's just berry juice.
Like, are there actually any chemicals in it?
Do you drink Coca-Cola, right?
Okay, yes, okay. I did hear that there was a tradition where, because back in the UK and in Ireland, when we actually drink vodka, what happens is that we just drink shot after shot. And in between, I heard that Russian people perhaps eat something.
Appetite.
Okay, so is this kind of a substitute for eating something?
It's a helper, definitely. But we
Okay.
do use the appetizers for sure, not like
All right.
UK people.
So which one would you like me to start off with?
Oh, that is everything is
Okay.
your choice.
Super.
Have
Well,
fun on this trip.
let's go. Traditionally, we would start with number 1, but we're going to start with number 3. Bottoms up.
I can do so.
Wow. Oh. That's
That's even worse.
yeah. Okay. Actually, no, that's quite pleasant. That tastes a little bit like, in my country we have something called Ribena, which is blackcurrant cordial. Okay.
Okay.
So that was the first one. Okay. It was a little harsh.
A little harsh.
Yeah. It wasn't very smooth. So, but it still had quite a nice taste. It didn't make me want to go, "Bleh." Now let's go with number 1. Well, okay, seriously, I could say that's a cheap one.
Why do you think it's cheap? What tells you?
It was rough.
It was rough.
It wasn't as smooth. It's, you know, when you drink things like cognac, the cheaper it is, the more it bites in the back of your throat. Whereas the more expensive I find alcohols or spirits, shall we say, they tend to slide down your throat a little bit more smoothly.
You sound like a person with experience.
Not really, but being half Irish helps.
Okay.
Okay, so here goes, down the hatch, as we say in the UK. Zdastarovia. All right, now I'm confused. Now I'm very, very confused. Okay, so I think that is the cheap one. I think that is the more expensive one, and that is the middle one. Because that one tasted a little smoother than that, but I can still feel it in the back of my throat. I'd like to know how close I was to getting the answers right, because to be perfectly honest, it's going to my head very quickly.
Drink Morris.
No, that's horrible.
That's the worst drink here.
I don't want to drink. In fact, to be honest with you, I'd put the vodka in there to make it taste better.
They do that in cocktails. Well, that was very impressive. Very impressive. But this is the expensive one.
Number 1 was the expensive one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Number 2 is the cheap one.
Really?
And number 3 is the average.
It's the average. My goodness me.
You're not exactly a vodka sommelier.
No, I'm not a connoisseur of vodka in any way, shape or form.
And stay in Russia for longer.
I've been here for 14 years. Don't you think that that would be long enough?
14 more, I'm guessing. But, you know, in Russia, to drink alone is a very bad sign. I'm offering you to join us at the table for drinking more.
I would
with
love
the
to.
appetizers and my husband, the rock.
Excellent.